against, child predators. Let me start off by asking you, why is this bill so important to you?
This is a piece of legislation that was brought to my attention by a constituent, and what was discussed with them is the fact that sometimes these memories will come back to haunt you years later, and also the way the legislation is drafted, it will allow it to become a first-degree felony right away. And that was the intent after discussions with my constituent and some other individuals that have had personal experience with this. So I feel it's important that justice be served at all times by these individuals and that they not be forgotten.
Now I understand it, if it were to be passed, you're asking for a life sentence for these types of criminals, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and then there's another piece of the punishment, right? Well, tell me a little bit about what other punishment they could face.
Specifically, which one?
I heard something that maybe the victim could take him to court years later. Is that true?
Oh yes, that particular component deals with the fact that in some cases these individuals, the crime occurs when they are very young. It may be a 5 or 6 year old victim, and it's not until they are 25, 26 years old that they realize that the crime was committed against them. They don't have the knowledge base at that point to realize that they have been a victim of a crime. And when those recollections start to occur, these individuals are now haunted by this action. So what ends up happening is that now there's no recourse for them. The individual basically got away with a crime because statute of limitations has expired, and that's not fair for these victims.
Do you think if a child is victimized, let me put it this way, do you think if a child is raped, doesn't report it, doesn't even know of it until later, they have enough proof that they should be able to take that person to court?
Yes, that would be the intent, because they may not know. In fact, in a case down in Las Cruces, the victim was 3 years old. So and in this case it turned out to be a fatal crime as well. But at 3 years old, there's not much for them to report. They can't report it. And they may not even know that this happened until years later. If the abuse continues, then they would have that knowledge as well to take forward, as it is possible for them to report it. But if they do start getting these memories, these recollections, I think that it should be able to be investigated, and if sufficient evidence is found that a crime was committed, that individual be convicted and brought to justice.
Let me ask you this last question. Do you foresee any challenges with this bill?
I foresee challenges at every turn. Just hearing some of the reports that I've been getting today, based on the fact that it was just recently introduced, there's going to be obviously some challenges from all angles. And that's the beauty of the process, is that a bill will get thoroughly debated and discussed, and we'll be able to vet it through and see where people stand on this.
Can you give me a few examples of some of those challenges?
I'd imagine that we'll be getting some potential challenges from defense attorneys based on what I have heard. There may actually be some opposition from the district attorney's office regarding the likelihood that they would not be able to plea these out, because that's part of the legislation. There is no plea bargain. If you get convicted, you get 30 years, which is the life imprisonment.
Okay, interesting. Well, Representative, is there anything else you think I'm forgetting you want to add?
No, that's about it.
All right, thank you so much for your time, sir.
All right, thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too, bye-bye.